Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another Thursday talk. In our last series, we heard about how to keep our inner environment clean. And we learned the importance of meditation, how the inner self, when it's filled with peace, love, and happiness, how it creates a clean inside, clean being. So in that series, we move forward. Our today's topic is meditation to detox your mind. And we have Sister Rona with us to guide us into it. This talk is brought to you by Manhattan Meditation Center and Peace Village Retreat Center. So there we have many who are joining in person, and many are joining on YouTube and Facebook Live. So the recording of this talk is available, and we can keep this session interactive. You're free to ask questions in person, as well as whoever is on Zoom, they are able to unmute themselves. And also there is an option to send a chat message and we can read the questions for you. And also if you would like to come into the camera, that's also nice. So we invite Sister Rona to guide us into meditation to detox your mind.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome, and especially welcome for those who are joining us for the first time, who are visiting us for the first time. Tonight's session is on meditation. And
Sister Rona, I think we can't hear you.
Really?
Am I true?
No, I can hear.
Yes, I am good too. I can hear.
Yeah, I don't see any problem.
Sister Rona, it could be just me. I think others are able to hear you. Sorry.
Good. And meditation as a tool to detox the mind. But before we start with the talk, maybe we can have a moment of silence, a minute of silence. And in that minute, try and observe your mind. What is that toxicity that is there, if there is any? Just observe what is going on in the mind. Not judging, not condemning, just observing and taking note. What is going on in my mind? Thank you. All of a sudden, a minute can be so long. Or maybe so short. But if you're not used to it, maybe it can appear so long. So what did you observe in your mind? Anyone can say? Chaos. Someone here is saying chaos. What did you observe in your mind? You don't have to say it. Too much thought going on. Too many thoughts going on. Negative thoughts. Go ahead, Varsha.
Sister, because you were going to ask what kind of toxicity is going on. So mind became alert and like light was light means very much aware, intense awareness. But it happened because you were going to ask that. So my focus was only on that lightness.
Good. So it means that if you pay attention and you consciously choose, you can have a pleasant environment in your mind. Because you knew I was going to ask, you thought, let me do my best and create good thoughts. Someone was also saying lots of thoughts of worry. So this is just a simple exercise to get familiarized with your mind, with your inner world, to become a bit aware of what is going on inside here. Because it is very much possible that many of us, we just go about our daily lives and all these thoughts are there, but we are not even fully aware what is going on. But your thoughts are one of your biggest treasures. No, you know that? But your thoughts can also be your biggest enemies. They can bully you, they can harass you, they can create all kind of exhaustion and stress. But they can also create beautiful feelings and beautiful experiences and just an environment of your mind, a state of mind that is pleasant. But we are not taught to take care of our mind. We don't grow up, our teachers, our parents telling us, be careful with your mind. Be careful with your thoughts. We are not taught that. And not because anybody is bad or wants to do, they also don't know. And what happens if we do not look after our mind, if we don't take care of our thoughts, if we don't consciously learn to choose uplifting, empowering, constructive, positive thoughts, or maybe even noble thoughts, then this treasure, this power to think, it gets wasted. And our mind becomes a source of toxicity. And now meditation, this whole process of meditation is to teach us again how to think and what to think and what is useful to think. I'll go over to the board so that we can get a little bit better insight in how this mind works. I'll use my creative energies without any talent to draw. But sketching also helps. So if we could take a picture of our mind, it would look something like this. If we could take a photo of the mind, maybe Apple will come out with a camera soon to take a picture of your mind. Let's see. So what would be visible on that picture? If you could take a picture of your mind. What is happening in the mind? What are the different things that your mind does? Don't have to-do list. A to-do list, over hurrying. Focus on I or the self. You know what the word, most used word is in the vocabulary of most, if not all languages? I and one other word? No. One other word, not no. God. Still another one. I and mine. This is quite interesting, no? If you observe yourself also, but in its kind of social gatherings, people asking, people talking and interacting, the most used words are I and mine. I want this, I did this, I'm going to do this, this is what I feel, this is what I think, this is my ID, this is my dog, this is my husband, this is my job, this is how. And we are often not aware. No? So sometimes just observing people. This morning, was it this morning or yesterday? In a conversation, a 5 minutes conversation, I was counting. In my mind, I was counting how many times this word I and mine came. 5 minutes conversation. It was horrific, 123 times. I was like, so, you know, two people talking and these words 123 times. It gives us an insight in what our deeper positioning is. Me, I, mine, mine. It's horrible. But not because we are bad, we are just not aware. And this is what comes out of the mouth. So what is happening in the mind? Our whole thought process is just fully centered on me and mine. No bigger picture. So what is going on in your mind? But the function of the mind, one function, one big function, one function that stands out is to create thoughts. Can you speak on Zoom? The board is visible. So to create thoughts is one big function of the mind. But together with thoughts, now every thought comes as if with its theme. It has a theme around it. So one part of the theme, what thoughts carry with them, is feelings. Every thought carries with it a certain feeling. Thoughts carry with them or are triggered by or create a certain attitude. Thoughts also have certain, how would you call it, vibrations? Certain atmosphere. Every thought has its own atmosphere. For example, a thought of peace creates a serene atmosphere. Thoughts of hate has a different atmosphere in your mind. And if it is very strong, of course, it spreads around also. So every thought has a certain vibration, and every thought can lead to certain words and certain actions. Every thought has the potential to become verbal and to be put into action. Now, fortunately, not all our thoughts are put into words and put into actions, which I think is a good thing, since we do not have much control at present over our thoughts. We think all kind of things. It's good that most of the time they don't come into action. But all of this is the function of our mind. And of course, there are a bit deeper dynamics, but just to simplify and get an idea. Now, they say a certain research, neuroscientific research, did they say like that in English? Where they study the brain and study the brain impulses. They have a way to count the amount of impulses that are connected with a thought. So in the 1970s and 80s, these types of research was very popular. And at that time, they said in a day, we have about 30,000 thoughts. This was in the 1980s. This was before WhatsApp and and TikTok and widespread internet. So I think now easily it is doubled. So, but let us say 30,000 thoughts in a day. So this mind is producing 30,000 thoughts in a day. What kinds of thoughts are they? What kind of feelings do they bring? What kind of mood is created in your mind by these thoughts? What kind of atmosphere is created in your mind by these thoughts? What kind of attitude? And what is ultimately your behavior expressed by those 30,000 thoughts? And a gross categorization of the thoughts is we have useful thoughts, means thoughts to organize your day, thoughts to go about your job, thoughts to organize your household, thoughts that I have an appointment, whatever. Those are useful thoughts in terms of how to go about your day. But we don't need 30,000 thoughts to organize our normal daily activities. Most of them, we don't need to think too much about it. But what happens, we have, say we have a useful thought, I need to buy bread. Bread is finished, I need to get some bread today. What can happen is you repeat that thought. I need to buy bread. I need to buy bread. I should not forget to buy bread. After an hour, I have to buy bread. I have to buy bread. So that useful thought that you had one time, you have repeated it 20 times. And then you're in the supermarket and you think, what did I need to buy? It's possible you get home without bread. And then you have another 20 thoughts of how dummy you were that you did not get the bread. This is a simple example. Now, how did you use your treasure of thoughts? One thought was useful, but the 40 other thoughts were useless. Thoughts are an expression of your mental energy. So you're wasting your mental energy with this cyclical thinking, with this useless thinking about breath. And then ultimately even not even getting the breath also sometimes. So we are using our thoughts in a way that just wastes our mental energy. And what happens then? At the end of the day, you just feel exhausted and tired and did not achieve anything. Now, how does that make you feel about yourself? Pretty useless, I think, if I observe myself. And nothing significant happened. Nobody said anything. This is just me and my own inner world, making myself feel useless and exhausted for nothing. Means I'm not using my treasures in a worthwhile way. So these are two forms of thoughts, useful thoughts and useless thoughts. So many times these useless thoughts, they are cyclical thoughts. The same thought repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats, making me tired and get a headache, achieving nothing but making me feel useless and tired. Of course, this useless thinking, which makes me tired, diminishes my discerning power even further. And it becomes very easy to get in negative thoughts or destructive thoughts. Now, that category of thoughts, definitely we do not need nor want. Negative and destructive thoughts are thoughts of hatred, thoughts of violence, thoughts of bondage, thoughts of jealousy, thoughts of anxiety. And when we get into that track of thoughts, it's even more difficult to control them because they go very fast and they just kind of overpower our mind. That is definitely toxic. Those negative, destructive thoughts that are so fast and they fill your mind with an atmosphere of sadness, of melancholy, or with an atmosphere of stress and tension, or even hatred. That is toxic. Now, who suffers the most from your toxic mind? Yeah. We ourselves. Others will run away from us and then be free from us. But we cannot run away from our own mind. It is truly with you 24/7, and it will even influence your dreams and the quality of your sleep. So it is definitely not useful to continue to walk around with this toxic mind. But on top of that, what will come out of your mouth will also not be so pleasant or constructive. So it might definitely also affect your interactions and relationships with others. So how important is it to look after our mind? Now, the other category of thoughts is constructive thoughts, positive thoughts, thoughts of gratitude, thoughts of focusing on solution instead of on problems, thoughts of acceptance, thoughts of seeing the glass half full instead of half empty. Those are positive thoughts, constructive thoughts. Every situation, something is there for me to learn. And even if there is nothing for me to learn, I can still contribute to that situation with a positive attitude. These are constructive, positive thoughts. Now, who benefits most from positive thoughts? My positive thoughts. I myself. And others will also benefit when they can come in interaction and in contact with me. But I myself will benefit most because my mind becomes like a pleasant companion. A companion who I want to be with. The other one, you want to run away from it, but you can't. And so those positive or constructive thoughts, they create feelings and an atmosphere, a vibration in the mind that is pleasant and positive. Sometimes now you notice in cartoons, they show this someone walking with a dark cloud all always over them, or it's all the time raining. Sometimes no, in some company, some people, they have that heaviness and that how to say, everything is a problem, that heaviness. You want to run away from that. You get a headache just from their company. Now, you don't want to be like that for others, isn't it? You don't want to be like that for yourself. Same with a mind that is constructive, a mind that is positive, a mind that is light. You enjoy your own company, and others will enjoy your company. You are like a, what is it? A valuable, your being and your company, your existence is valuable. And then there is another subcategory of positive thoughts, which is elevated thoughts or noble thoughts or spiritual thoughts. And those are the kinds of thoughts that we especially focus on in meditation. Now you can imagine if whole day you had 30,000 thoughts that are cyclical and going around like that, and few also were negative and destructive thoughts. And then you sit down, say, okay, now I want to meditate. What will happen? What will happen? Those same spinning thought will just become more now. Because we don't have we haven't taught our mind how to think and what not to think. So the practice of meditation is not a disconnected practice from how you use your mind in your everyday life. Meditation starts with observing your thoughts and choosing more quality thoughts whenever, every moment. When you're at home, when you're taking shower, when you're commuting, when you're with colleagues, when you're with family, all the time having a certain natural attention, as if like a hobby. What is the quality of the thoughts that I'm bringing to this present moment? And then when you have that practice of more control, more observing, more attentive, then you sit down to meditate. Then it becomes more easy to choose which thought yes and which thought no. Now, there are some meditation practices I have heard, I don't have the experience, I have heard where they try to stop thinking. But there definitely is that kind of idea out there that meditation means no thoughts. This meditation practice doesn't mean no thoughts. It just means higher thoughts, elevated thoughts, noble thoughts, spiritual thoughts, which are slower in speed, definitely, than all these other spinning thoughts, but they are quality thoughts. And it does have a theme that is of quality. And Raj Yoga, the Brahma Kumari's knowledge and the Brahma Kumari's form of meditation says that thinking is a natural process of our mind. It's just like breathing is natural for the body. Thinking is natural for the mind, but we have forgotten how to think. What to think and what not to think. So as if our thinking has become a little sick. As if, when your breathing is abnormal, is a sign that something is wrong. So if your thinking is abnormal, sign that something is wrong at a level of consciousness. But we don't need to stop thinking. But we need to shift the content of our thinking. So this toxic mind, in essence, it means all these useless cyclical thoughts that then lead to destructive thoughts, which create all kinds of feelings and emotions which are unpleasant and can become even dangerous at times. Anxiety, depression, violence. You want to say anything so far? Anyone? Or ask? How about someone is saying, how about talking too much? Well, you can imagine if someone talks too much, then what will be the state of the mind? Because before I'm talking, there is a thought and a thought process going on. And what tends to happen is when we become more at ease with our mind and when we become more in control of our thoughts, we start enjoying our own thoughts and our own company. And then we will be more wise with our words. And then there won't be the need to speak so much. One of my friends said, it's from a childhood, she grew up, and her mother and people around her used to tell her all the time, you talk too much, you talk too much. And she used to say, growing up also, I love to talk. And it was true, because when her friends are there, she talks. But when the friend's gone, she continues to talk. It's like the talk. And when she started her spiritual journey and she started meditation, she became more quiet. And so her family asked her, so what happened to you? Why you're not talking so much anymore? Because initially they thought something wrong with her. And she said, I realized when I don't talk but listen, I learn more. Because when I talk, I just say things I already know anyway. But when I am quiet and I start listening more, then I learn. It was quite a nice realization. And I mean, I know her closely, personally, and I have seen that shift. And it is not forceful, but naturally. Now she's listening more quiet. Okay, but to go to this next step of meditation, meditation as a tool to detox, all this 30,000, do you have a good name for this whoosh going on inside your mind? As a tool to detox So in short, easy definition and easy description of meditation would be, meditation is consciously choosing and guiding your thoughts into an experience, a feeling, an atmosphere that is uplifting. For example, you choose certain thoughts that create an atmosphere in your mind of peace. You choose thoughts that create feelings of love, or of contentment, or of enthusiasm, or of power and truth. You create those thoughts and create a mind that is filled with those authentic, positive emotions and feelings. That would be meditation. Now, Raj Yoga meditation, that is the specific form of meditation we teach here, takes it a step further even. The aim of this meditation is to create those kinds of thoughts that emerge your sense of spiritual identity. I'm not sure if the English is right. Yeah. In Raj Yoga, the understanding is this is earrings. This is, who is this? Lydia? Lydia? So in Raj Yoga, the understanding is that we generally think of ourselves in terms of our physical appearance, our body. I am Lydia. I am I have this female body, and I am from this cultural background, this ethnicity, this is my job, this is my social circumstances, this is me. I was born in a certain place at a certain time to certain family, certain parents. And I'm living this life, and I know at some stage this will also finish. Normally, our sense of self and our sense of identity is this. Spiritual knowledge, Raj Yoga knowledge says, you are not that. You are a spiritual being of consciousness, an invisible presence. And this body is your vehicle for a temporary period of time. But the real you, the one who creates thoughts, the one who has feelings, has emotions, has impressions, has tendencies, has memory, has aspirations, that is invisible, intangible, a being of consciousness. And this is what is the word that is used for this real self, this invisible self, is soul or spirit. Soul. And the soul, it transcends the limitations of the body. The soul is beyond gender, beyond skin color, beyond beginning and end. End of the vehicle doesn't mean the end of the driver. The soul. And so in Raj Yoga meditation, the ultimate aim is to shift our sense of identity from I am a physical human mortal to I am a spiritual, timeless, invisible being of consciousness. I've come into this world exposing myself to sense experiences and interactions, the human experience. But I am a spiritual being. And when this experience ends, I just continue with the journey. And so in Raj Yoga meditation, the aim is to create thoughts that reinforce this spiritual identity. And this sense of timelessness, this sense of immortality, this sense of invisible being of consciousness, that creates a different sense of peace. That peace is not connected with whether I have my pizza or my credit card or my mobile or not. That is irrelevant for this kind of peace. Whether I have job or promotion or not promotion, there is a deeper sense of joy, of existing and playing this game of human existence, but being able to go beyond too. A deeper feeling of love for self and for others that doesn't have to do with physical appearance or their status or their position or their possessions or their family or their social status. Love for the being. There is a deeper sense of joy, a different feeling of freedom, not being in bondage to sense experiences. Now, these type of thoughts and these type of feelings, to bring that into your mind, instead of this whoosh, I don't know how else to call it, this whoosh. That would be the ultimate detox. You want to say anything or ask anything? Do you mind speaking in the mic? So that Zoom can also. We have about 30 on Zoom.
How long does that take?
How long does a second? It just takes one thought. But, and it's true what I'm saying, but at the same time, you have to guide, you have to watch over that process, because you can create one moment the right thought, but the next thought, again, for that same quality. And the next thought again for that same quality. So it is not so much a question of how long does this take. It is more a question of how much attention do I pay to my thoughts. We started out by saying it is about the quality of my thoughts in everyday life that I need to start paying attention to, because if the whoosh is there the whole day and then I sit down and meditate to think, oh, peaceful being of light, it will not happen like that. Maybe one thought, but the next thought will be overridden by overridden by the thoughts that I normally have. So the process of during the day, just paying attention to my thoughts. I have seen in myself, if I pay attention, if one day I pay full attention to the quality of my thoughts, and every time I notice something whoosh or something negative, I shift it. One day is enough to raise the energy level and the quality of my mind. And if I then in the evening sit for deeper meditation, mind flies. It is not about length of time. It is about the quality of my attention to the thoughts. But there's another factor. Many of us, we do not know what are quality thoughts also. We are so used to this whoosh. I don't know. So we need to familiarize ourselves with topics to think about, to guide our mind. Many times during the day, we don't have to be conscious and have thoughts about what we are doing. No, we can be in the shower. Many of those activities are like habit. You don't need to use your intellectual capacity to soap your face or wash your hair. So during those moments, to be able to choose higher quality of thoughts. But we need to educate ourselves also. What are those topics and themes that I can think about? But simple ones are things like peace, or a deeper understanding of what is enthusiasm. And you must have seen there are these virtue cards or power cards. It gives you topics to reflect and think, to train your ability to have thoughts of a higher quality. And if you just do that one day, now I used to have, I don't carry it anymore, but I used to have a pack with those virtue cards. And every half hour I would take one. And during that half hour, every time when I am free, I try to think of what was written on that virtue card and just to reflect on it, just to get a better quality of thought and to get a reservoir of themes to think about that are positive or uplifting. And then in the evening, when I would sit for some silent reflection or deeper meditation, it would become much easier because you have as if given your mind nurturing food. And it becomes strong quickly. Yeah. Is it on? Is it green? Yeah. Yeah. Just press the button. Yeah.
My question is, if you have these quality thoughts, if you
Yeah.
make an effort to have this quality thought during
Yeah.
your daily life, and that will get you to understand the higher, like your soul, you will be able to see yourself outside your body.
It would definitely be a step in the right direction. Yeah, yeah. If there is real interest in meditation, this weekend there is a 2-day meditation course where there will be different topics where you can think about what are the thoughts for meditation, more in-depth, more detailed. And more you have those type of thoughts, you become more familiar with what it means to be soul. And those experiences will come. Not that I am having out of body experiences. That is not what I'm drawing it like that, but it doesn't mean I'm going out and looking at the body, but it is just my inadequate drawing skills to indicate that there is a soul who is like the driver seated behind the eyes, using the eyes as windows, using this mouth to make sound. But the ideas coming through this mouth do not belong to the mouth. They belong to the being. Now I'm using these ears to hear. And then we become more aware of the self as this invisible, silent, innately divine presence. That is the real self, the soul. Yeah. Just,
I-
is it green?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's on.
Yeah.
I realize anything you see or anything you hear before evening meditation, it kind of repeat in your mind over and over
Mhm.
again.
Mhm.
Is for personally, from my experience, is I have to shut everything off for me
Yeah.
to have a peace. It kind of repeat itself when I
Yeah.
sit.
Yeah.
Is there any? Is that how it should be?
No, no, no. Well, this is what happens. This is what happens to us because we don't have control. And also we don't have a reservoir of other thoughts, because when the cyclical thoughts are there is another function in our psyche. I did not mention that, but that is the function of the intellect. To put it now, the intellect. And the intellect is like the guide for the mind. And the intellect is our wisdom, our common sense, our understandings of life. The intellect is our discerning power. What is useful, what is not useful. What is useful to think, what is not useful to think. That is that discerning power, that analyzing power is the intellect. And so we need to empower our intellect to guide this mind. So this mind creates a thought, some funny thought. What funny thought? I hate the dog of my neighbor, whatever. This thought coming in the mind. Now this intellect, our wisdom, should look at this thought and think this is absolutely useless thought. And throw it out and put in place, for example, a spiritual thought. I am innately a peaceful being. That is the power of the intellect. Intellect can do this if we empower the intellect, and we empower the intellect with spiritual wisdom. Like these cards or this talk like this or some course, we empower our spiritual wisdom. And then more, this is empowered. With silent reflection also it is empowered. With meditation, the intellect is empowered. And then the intellect can guide this mind and say, what dog of the neighbor? None of your business. We can think of something more useful and something better. A wise intellect. And there is this beautiful prayer to know, what is this? What is this prayer again? Give me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And this is the power of the intellect. The intellect knows what thought is absolutely useless. What are the things in this world I cannot change, doesn't make sense to break my head on. So to empower your intellect with spiritual wisdom, with silent reflection, with meditation, shift the thoughts. One slogan that it's not a slogan, but when the thoughts go in a wrong direction, in my mind, the image that I put is like a red flag. Danger. The red flag with a skull and a cross. So I play with myself. These thoughts, danger zone, don't go there. Just make it fun also. Play this game with your mind. This is useless area. And this is all throughout the day. game. In every moment, can I create the best thoughts? That would be like, meditation is a big word for that, but it is an absolute necessity to lead up to deeper meditations. There is this book, no, that sometimes is there. Is who is the boss in your own mind, in your own head? Who is boss? You are these useless negative thoughts.
What if the intellect is not healthy?
That is our state at the moment. Not only the intellect is not healthy, intellect is knocked out often. Because we have created a culture that doesn't feed us spiritual wisdom. We have created a life and a lifestyle generally that doesn't nurture us with wisdom. We need to actively do that. YouTube doesn't, well, depending on what you watch, but our entertainment convert life at present very little. It nurtures the intellect. You have to actively seek that. And you're doing that. That's why you're sitting here. But our intellect is knockout. Knockout, or what is this thing? Drunk. Not asleep. Yeah, asleep. And so with intellect, I don't mean high IQ, because people can have high IQ, but still intellect not working. But not to blame ourselves or others or to condemn, just observing and choosing, taking steps to come out of this. Mm-hmm.
So let's say, for instance, that these negative thoughts become so routine that they become safe. They feel very safe and a place of security for yourself. And it's these positive thoughts that feel strange, unsafe almost in the body. So how do we condition ourselves to feel safe in our bodies while reconditioning ourselves to think these positive thoughts?
It is still, the way is through the intellect. We have to begin to see that our beliefs are limited and limiting, and that they do not work in the long run, at least. And this is why, strengthening the intellect, to see through these limited beliefs that we hold, that have been built up over time, but in the long run, they don't hold true. That is the only way to really break through. Star wanted to ask something?
Yeah, actually, I was trying to bring to your attention, somebody wanted more examples of wise thoughts.
Wise thoughts. Wise thoughts, there are different levels of this. No? There are deeply spiritual thoughts, that I am this spiritual, innately divine, immortal, timeless being who has the potential to peace, the potential to experience endless love and freedom and purity and joy. Now, these types of thoughts, we are guests in this body, guests in this world. We are travelers through time and space. Nothing belongs to me here. Their things are entrusted, I use them, but it is not mine. Nothing here is mine. Because at some stage we will have to leave it all. And if nothing is mine, then no one surely is mine either. So you get out of these funny bondages and addictions and attachments in terms of dependencies. Those type of thoughts are higher, noble, deeply spiritual thoughts. But another area of example is more in terms of your practical day-to-day activities, thoughts that focus on solution instead of thoughts that focus on problem. Thoughts that focus on how to come out of things or to move forward constructively instead of worrying. And thoughts of gratitude. You know, one example that we often give, those who have heard this can't answer, what is this? And, yeah, and what else?
Skin.
Dorsal side of the hand, yeah, what else? Skin, what else? Veins, huh? Yeah, blood vessels, what else? Cells, what else? It is also a miracle. Isn't it? It is a miracle. Every finger is like a miracle. I don't know how. I know, but still I marvel at it. And I have another one, another miracle. What is this? Eye is another miracle. Here, another miracle. This ear is also a miracle. This tongue, you know what miracle this tongue is? Now, do you get up in the morning and say, wow, so many miracles? These are positive thoughts. I can also get, wow, where's my coffee and this alarm? Sun comes up every day. Today it rains. This is another miracle, water coming from the sky. This mic is another miracle, man-made, but another miracle. This Zoom is another miracle. I don't know how it works, but it works. Not a simple joke around this is to say an optimist wakes up in the morning and says, good morning, God. And a pessimist wakes up in the morning and says, good God, morning. And these are simple examples. Approach them. What can I learn here instead of what are these again? These are simple examples of constructive approaches to things. But deeper, higher, noble thoughts, that is also an area to shift deeper belief systems. Then habits and tendencies and vision and mindset changes. And of course, that requires more attention and education also. But a simple practice also, these practices that are very popular these days, the attitude of gratitude practices. Every day write at least 3 things that you are grateful for. It trains you to see the glass being half full instead of half empty. And they are useful. Useful to you. I know this talk is very nice, but time is past. Final.
Okay. I was going to say, I found Brahma Kumari on YouTube by listening for Sister Shivani, and it's very helpful. It explained to me a lot of things, and I've listened to countless times. And I was just going to say, it helps a lot.
Yeah, very good. Yeah. This is a way not to strengthen the intellect, to nurture the intellect, to listen to these things, to experiment with these things. And if you're so inclined to take it a step further even and to take a meditation course, educate yourself about deeper spiritual knowledge. That is the way to detox. Yeah, no, very good. A lot of these videos of Shivani Ben are on YouTube. Short, nice. Give you like little, yeah, but it gives you like something to think about, think differently, approach things differently. Okay, it is already 7:37. Shall we, if there is time, whoever has time, just let us have a few minutes to do some light initial meditation. And so just keep the body comfortable, but not too comfortable that you fall asleep, but back straight. And just become aware of the position of the body. Become aware of the feet on the floor, of the different bodily sensations. Become aware of the heartbeat. And how the air is pulled into the lungs on inhalation. And how it is pushed out of the lungs on exhalation. Consciously relax the muscles of the shoulders and the neck and the muscles of the face. But now also become aware that there is someone who is experiencing all of this. Experiencing this body. There's someone who is using the eyes to see, using the ears to hear, using the mouth to speak. The invisible experiencer. The inner being, the higher being, the being of consciousness, the real self. The soul. Who is like an invisible presence using this body temporarily. And we use the image of light, tiny star, operating from the center of the forehead behind the eyes to indicate the real I, the soul. Timeless, pure, living light. Like a sparkling star just behind the eyes, in the center of the forehead. You're peaceful, still, innocent, free. Serene, living light. And as we gradually choose to become aware again of our surroundings, choose to come again into sound and action, let us aim to hold this awareness of the real self, the soul, timeless living light, a traveler, an invisible guest in this world, on this planet, in this body. Let us play with these thoughts during our day-to-day life. Guest, invisible traveler. And with this aim, we enter again into sound and action. Thank you. Thank you, those on Zoom. Kiran, you want to say anything or add anything?
Thank you so much. We discovered our best companion today, the one who is with us 24/7,
Yeah.
our mind. And the company colors us. So it's in our hands how to make this companion from not so good or ordinary to the most elevated one. And for that, there are wonderful things happening at Meditation Center in Manhattan. There is the Sanctuary of Peace from 6:30 p.m. to 6 to 6:30 p.m. from Monday to Thursday, where we can personally go there, and the space really helps in creating positive thoughts. So, there is a great opportunity to be there in person. Monday to Thursday, actually Monday through Friday, there is a Power Boost meditation at noon, which is live streamed on Facebook and YouTube. And that can also help with the positive thoughts. It can give positive subjects and meditation around it. And again, the next Thursday, the topic of our talk is steps to a clean heart. So thank you so much for joining.
And just also this coming weekend, Saturday and Sunday, day after tomorrow, there is a 2-day meditation course.
Right. Yes, there is one more. So what's the time, Sister Rona?
11.
At 11 a.m.?
11 a.m., yes, for 1.5 hours. And it is in person, and there's also the option to join on Zoom.
Okay, great. And all the information is available on the website. So hope you take advantage of so many hot springs that are coming up, and all the best. See you soon.
Good evening.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.